reasons which had led him to abandon his fatherland were all fruitful sources of gossip to the topers who frequented the Grüne Mann and the Schwarze Bär, the two alehouses of the village. I found myself very happy at Leyden. The surroundings were magnificent, and 20 years of Brixton had sharpened my admiration for nature as an olive improves the flavour of wine. In my youth I had been a fair German scholar, and I found myself able, before I had been many months abroad, to converse even on scientific and abstruse subjects with the new curé of the parish. This priest was a great godsend to me, for he was a most learned man and a brilliant conversationalist. Father Verhagen, for that was his name, though little more than 40 years of age, had made his reputation as an author by a brilliant monograph upon the early popes, a work which eminent critics have compared favourably with von Ranke's. I shrewdly suspect that it was owing to some rather unorthodox views advanced in this book that Verhagen was relegated to the obscurity of Leyden. His opinions upon every subject were ultra-liberal, and in his fiery youth he had been ready to vindicate them, as was proved by a deep scar across his chin, received from a dragoon's sabre in the abortive insurrection at Berlin. Altogether, the man was an interesting one, and though he was by nature somewhat cold and reserved, we soon established an acquaintanceship. The atmosphere of morality in Leyden was a very rarefied one. The position of Intendant Worms and his satellites had for many years been a sinecure. Non-attendance at church upon a Sunday or feast day was about the deepest and darkest crime which the most advanced of the villagers had attained to. Occasionally some hulking Fritz or Andreas would come lurching home at 10 o'clock at night, slightly under the influence of Bavarian beer, and might even abuse the wife of his bosom if she ventured to remonstrate. But such cases were rare, and when they occurred the Leydeners looked at the culprit for some time in a half-admiring, half-horrified manner, as one who had committed a gaudy sin, and so asserted his individuality. It was in this peaceful village that a series of crimes suddenly broke out, which astonished all Europe, and for atrocity and for the mystery which surrounded them, surpassed anything of which I have ever heard or read. I shall endeavour to give a succinct account of these events in the order of their sequence, in which I am much helped by the fact that it has been my custom all my life to keep a journal, to the pages of which I now refer. It was then, I find, upon the 19th of May, in the spring of 1866, that my old landlady, Frau Zimmer, rushed wildly into the room as I was sipping my morning cup of chocolate, and informed me that a murder had been committed in the village. At first I could hardly believe the news, but as she persisted in her statement, and was evidently terribly frightened, I put on my hat and went out to find the truth. When I came into the main street of the village, I saw several men hurrying along in front of me, and following them I came upon an excited group in front of the little Stadthaus or town hall, a barn-like edifice which was used for all manner of public gatherings. They were collected round the body of one Maul, who had formerly been a steward upon one of the steamers running between Lindau and Friedrichshafen on the Lake of Constance. He was a harmless, offensive little man, generally popular in the village, and as far as was known, without an enemy in the world. Maul lay upon his face, with his fingers dug into the earth, no doubt in his last convulsive struggles, and his hair all matted together with blood, which had streamed down over the collar of his coat. The body had been discovered nearly 2 hours, but no one appeared to know what to do or whither to convey it. My arrival, however, together with that of the curé, who came almost simultaneously, infused some vigour into the crowd. Under our direction the corpse was carried up the steps and laid on the floor of the town hall, where, having made sure that life was extinct, we proceeded to examine the injuries in conjunction with Lieutenant Worms of the police. Maul's face was perfectly placid, showing that he had had no thought of danger until the fatal blow was struck. His watch and purse had not been taken. Upon washing the clotted blood from the back of his head, a singular triangular wound was found, which had smashed the bone.